Hello and welcome to How I Think About Bikes. Today I'm going to review the most glamorous bicycle racks ever built, the Nitto Campee series. As far as I can tell, no one on the internet has ever reviewed these racks before, and so therefore the job falls to me. Let's start with why these racks are so glamorous. Why am I calling a bike rack glamorous? First off, they have a pedigree. Nitto is a brand from Japan. Actually, Nitto is half a dozen brands from Japan, but we're not talking about the tire company or the company that sponsors tennis tournaments. Nitto, the bike company, is much smaller and has been around for 100 years. Their About Me page smacks of a company who lets their products do the talking. They are primarily known for producing high-end parts for Keirin bikes. Keirin is a racing format conducted with single-speed bikes where the riders must do several paced laps and then make a mad sprint to the finish. The bikes are standardized, and the most important feature in parts is strength and reliability. It is one of only 4 sports where betting is legal in Japan, so Nitto makes parts that literally have enormous sums of money riding on them. Over the years, Nitto has scratched their innovation itch by branching out based on the interest of its staff and making everything from hand-welded aluminum frames to these crazy stems. I want one. To a fleet of racks with camping carriers being the flagship. In addition to a pedigree, Nitto Campee racks check off other glamour criteria. They are expensive and they are hard to get. Try to find a set of front and rear in stock in North America that fits your bike. Now, take a big sip of coffee and look at the price. I wound up buying mine straight from Japan. But glamour is more than pedigree and it's more than price. So let's crack open the box and see how they stack up. So far, so glamorous. They didn't take any chances with the packaging. The first thing I noticed when pulling the first rack out of the bag was the finish and the quality of the welds. No disappointments here. The hardware was packaged in a series of little bags that felt very reminiscent of the Tamiya RC model kits I used to love putting together. There was not a whole lot in the way of assembly instructions, but mounting the racks was pretty straightforward. Both front and rear were supported by the canty posts and brasons near the dropouts. These racks were designed for 90s mountain bikes, and it shows. There is no need for mid-fork mounts. Nitto rates their Campee MT racks for 17 kilograms, which is around 37 pounds. This means between the front and back I can easily carry 75 pounds, more than enough for a grocery run, and I have a feeling I could stack more stuff on if needed. The racks themselves weigh in at about 2.5 pounds each. According to Nitto, they prioritize safety over weight reduction and don't manufacture products with the aim of being the lightest possible. I did find it a little challenging to mount the lighting, and I'm still not 100% happy with the lighting setup. The Campee racks do have a threaded eyelet for a light mount on the right side of the rack, but I neglected to purchase the lamp holder 8L, and the hardware that came with my B&M Dynamo light wound up only fitting with the light upside down when mounted to the Campee rack, which is a no-go for a light with a shaped beam. Fortunately, I was able to eke out enough room at the fork crown to put the light there, and it's fine. For the rear light, there were no mounting points. I typically mount rear lights with the small P-clamps to the tubing of the rack across the back. The Campee rear rack has too many elegant curves for that to fly. Good for glamour. In the end, I decided to mount the light vertically to the stays of the rack. It's not the absolute best spot for visibility, but it's out of the way of the panniers and looks pretty nice. Speaking of the panniers, let's check out how these racks carry stuff. Both the front and rear own their iconic look partially to the rectangular bag supports that are suspended from the rack struts at a jaunty angle. These allow for running panniers in either a higher or lower position. If your panniers use a bungee and hooks to secure the rack, then you may need to shorten the bungee a bit for running on the lower position. I found that some pannier positions ended up destroying the sweet stickers on the racks, so if you want to maximize glamour, be more careful than I did when attaching the front racks. The design of the racks allow for a lot of creativity in how things could be strapped to them. I found this extremely convenient when camping, as I don't own much in the way of specialty bike packing gear and need to sort of strap things on however I can make them fit. Having plenty of options is nice. Would I recommend you buy these racks? Of course not. Consumerism is the root of all evil, and if you can't find it in the dumpster, voilà l'étalage. However, I cannot bring myself to regret buying the most glamorous bicycle racks ever made. I got many years out of my old racks until they gave up the ghost, and I expect that these racks will outlive me. They look absolutely dope on the Maharishi. I use them almost every day, and they ended up costing about the same as owning a car for 2 weeks. That seems pretty glamorous to me. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching.